Hello everybody, I hope you're doing good. Hi Marietta, hi Zenta, hi Lane, and hi Mary. I'm going to say to start with that the people that you see in the chat that have a little wrench near their name are moderators. And they are essentially ladies who are so kind to help me when it comes to moderating the chat. You can see that what goes on the ticker up there tells you exactly what I'm going to be using here. And what is all this thing about the peculiar flowery cane? I said before in some tutorials and in some lives that the human brain is wired in such a way that it is enough to see one element of something in order to be able to envision the entire something. Like when we did the organic beads, I showed you how just making elements of a butterfly wing will make the eye perceive a whole bead as being made out of butterfly wings. Hi Ellen, hi Chris, hi Cindy. So what is this whole thing about? It's about making a cane that will have practically nothing to do with the flower, but simply by the way that the elements are arranged will make your brain think of a flower, and anybody who looks at it will make them think of a flower. Hi Silver, hi Jennifer. So to start with, in order to, I forgot to get this one out. In order to measure things for your cane, let me get this away from the microphone because it's noisy. In order to measure things, and I know I've said it before, but there's always new people, so I'm going to say it every time. Hi Cecile, hi Kimba. In order to measure things for a recipe mix or for a Skinner blend, a gradient blend, you need to have all your clay run through the pasta machine on the same setting. Now, because I was asked before and I forgot to get the popsicle sticks, just a second. I am getting asked a lot of times, well, what if I don't have a pasta machine because I don't have time to do this all the time? It's just a little hobby and I don't have a lot of time for it and I don't have a lot of budget to invest for it. Hi Bethany, hi Fran. Something that you can do, and I'm going to get some clay through the pasta machine because unfortunately my hands are not that terrific at conditioning clay by hand. But if you watched polymer clay tutorials, especially those of the so-called old guard, and that means polymer clay artists who are pretty much over 50 years old, you will see that there's a lot of, they would say very often, like 2 cards thick or 3 cards thick. What is this all about? This is about the fact that in the very beginning, when we did not have pasta machines and polymer clay machines to work with this, in order to get a specific thickness, we would use playing cards. Nowadays you can use, especially for measuring and things, you can use also popsicle sticks, and these you can find at the dollar store. At the Dollar Tree you get, I don't know, there are like 50 of them, 40 or 50 in a bag for $1. Thank you, Bethany. I'll be talking about that here in a second. Hi, Maggie. So the thing that you can do to get all your clay on the same thickness, you simply get 2 popsicle sticks, and respectively it would be with playing cards, okay? But you just get your clay, you know, that would be kind of like a lump, and as I said, I cannot do it because of my hands. But you just put these here, and then you get your roller. If you don't have a roller, use a bottle, glass bottle. Those are about the best. Or you can even use a rolling pin, only that make sure that it's not made out of the plastic that might be susceptible to being damaged by polymer clay. And give me just a minute here, because I want to get something here. Just a little moment, because there was a question in the chat for the ones of you who are going to watch this later about how do I keep my rollers free of color residue. Okay, I made a long time ago, I made a tutorial on how to clean your pasta machine. Yeah, essentially you can use anything that would be the same thickness, pretty much. The thing is to have it raised a little bit from the whatever you're working on, and then simply by getting your roller or whatever you use as a roller to rest on these, you'll get all your clay at the same thickness. Hi Diane. Yeah, a lot of things work and work just fine. I personally prefer, and you shall see in that little tutorial, I personally prefer to get paper towels and just soak them in with alcohol and just run them through. How do you get? Usually the best thing is to get a bigger piece and then just cut it to cut it to dimension. But on the other hand, I got this question about how do all your pieces always look nice and straight and you don't have so many raggedy edges. I'll show you how. And I'm going to restart and start and stop the machine so I can explain to you. Okay? Let me see, did this get out of the... Just a second, because I have one that keeps going off. Not this one. Yeah, I think it got messed up again. I need to get under the sorry, under the table to fix it with duct tape. And because otherwise it's too far away from the computer, and I need to use an extension and it keeps coming out. Give me just a second, let me reinstall it. There we go. All righty. There we go. Now, watch this. Watch what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you how you can get the straight edges pretty much. So I have this piece, right? And you can see that it's all messed up here and it's kind of messed up here. Number one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold it like this. And this way I'm creating a straight line. Then I have here a bad line. I'm going to simply get it back like this and run it again. And you can do it several times until you're fine. Another thing you can do is to just do like this and do it the other way, just once. And then you can put it back the way it was before. Again, turn it 90 degrees. And now I have this part that's messed up, so I'm going to fold it so it will be inside. And you just keep folding a few times until all your edges are pretty much the way you want them. Does that make sense? Okay. So, what you need, hi Laos Deandro, hi Diane. So, what we are going to do is first do some gradient blends, also known as Skinner blends. And for that, I want first to make my main flower-like thing. And the best way to do, if you do not have a graded tile, just use a square cutter. The best way to do is to get, so this one I need it to be pretty much more yellowish than alizarin crimsonish. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to practically get 1, 2, 3. But because I want it to be more yellow than alizarin crimson, remember that you can do this several ways. Actually, I'm going to show you. Number one is the classic Skinner blend. What does the classic Skinner blend do? And let me get another cutter to show you a trick. Because you see on the market all kinds of, oh my god, cutters to make your Skinner blend, and it's like $10, $15. Well, you have this. This is a Makins cutter set that's under $2. And you can, let me give you the link, because you can find them on Amazon and you can find them on PolyClay Play. I think I paid like $1.90 or something. Give me just a second, I'll find them. 3-piece sets. Oh, they have breast cancer awareness. It's $1.95. I need to add this to my order for October because I want to do some breast cancer awareness stuff. Flower. Hold on, just a second. She has a ton of 3-piece sets, Makins cutters, and I want to find the triangle. Well, I'll just give you the link to these ones and you can find them, so I don't stay here forever searching for stuff. Yes, absolutely. You can absolutely do that, Fran. Okay, so if you want to go with the Skinner blend specific cutter, you just get, and it depends on how big you want to do your Skinner blend, you just get one of these And let's cut a few triangles out of the yellow. Let me get it one more time through the machine. I'm gonna get like 4, just I don't need 4, but I don't know, I'm just gonna get 4. And I'm going to get 2 alizarin crimsons. And the other thing that I wanted to say, because somebody asked, I think that it was Mary, what do you do about all these little things that appear on your... You do nothing. Because when you do the cane, and after you do the Skinner blend, and after you do everything and you put the cane together, nobody's going to see it. It's going to be just a microscopic speck, if it's going to still be there. Because it's not enough to change the color of your Skinner blend. Hi NJ, hi Janice, hi Judy. So don't worry about it. Only if you have a huge smudge on a white. And I'm talking a huge smudge, not, you know, specks like this. It's not going to change your colors. So I know that everybody is showing you, oh my God, you need to put 1 inch and 1/8 of an inch of this way, and then, yeah, that's okay when you try to imitate, I don't know, a gemstone where the color is super important. But when you're making just a cane, nobody's going to care if the yellow in that cane is going to be just a smidgen more lemony than cadmium-y. Okay? Hi, Victoria. Hi. Just grams for short, so that's a gram. Hi, Grandma. Usually grandmas who are very proud of being grandmas put their grams in the name. Okay, so just doing this, what we are interested in the most is when combining the 2 colors, right? And the next, we just keep going. And I want my yellow to be about twice as much, of course they are going to blend, as much as the alizarin crimson. So pretty much where I am now, all I have to do is this, and I have my perfect Skinner blend arrangement. This goes in the yellow. See? So that's all you have to do. Just use a triangle if you want to go classic. I know most people on this channel who are following this channel are grandmothers. Now, the other way that is very, very new is Cindy Litz's teardrop. And the way that you do it, you still have to measure it in one way or another. So I'm going to use again this one, because it doesn't matter the shape of the cutter as long as you use the same cutter and the clay is on the same thickness. So I need twice as much yellow than alizarin crimson. So here I have 2 triangles of yellow and I need 1 triangle of alizarin crimson. Right, and all I do, this is the teardrop blend of Cindy Litz. She's also known as the polymer clay tutor. Hi Teresa. Okay, so we have 1 bowl of yellow and 1 bowl of alizarin crimson. So what I'm going to do now is teardrop it. To teardrop a bowl after, because you always make the bowl in the crease of your palm, you let it drop a little bit towards the edge of your palm, and you start, see how it gently turns to a teardrop. And we have one teardrop, and let's do another teardrop. You can do 2 smaller teardrops instead of a big one, okay? And then all you do is to place them like this. It's pretty much the same principle as the whatchamacallit, the Skinner blend with the triangles. And you'll notice, and I will show you, I'm preparing a new Skinner blend tutorial, and I'm going to talk about it there. But something that you will notice is very common between 2 different styles. And that would be the style of Meg Newman, because she has very intricate combinations that normally take a square, and I'm gonna try to make an approximate square just to show you the whole thing. And I am, let's put 2.5, because it's easier to measure. And what Meg Newman does is practically something like this. Like if you want the beginning to have less, but then you want it to go very strongly, and then she would add different colors. It's not just in 2. It goes pretty much like this. So see, when you do it like this, you'll have a very sharp transition to alizarin crimson, but then you'll have the yellow going fairly strongly to the end. So you would pretty much, I should have done it backwards. I should have done with more yellow and less alizarin crimson, but you'll still get the idea. So you have this in Meg Newman styles. But look what happens if I flatten these, because these obviously you have to flatten them. And I'm not going to put them together because I don't want to mix them. I'm going to just flatten them and then put them together. But pretty much what happens when you flatten the teardrops, you get very much the equivalent, as I said, I think that they are backwards, that this is yellow and this is the equivalent of Meg Newman's. See how this goes like this. But what I personally do, and you have seen me, the ones of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you have seen me doing it. One of the ways, and I will do it both ways for you to be able to watch it. One of the ways, and that is especially beneficial when you are trying to mix more than 2 colors in a gradient blend. One of the ways is cut in squares, and then depending on how you want your gradient to go, here I don't really care because it is yellow, but I want the alizarin crimson in the end. And all you have to do now is cut right in the middle, move them here, cut these little specks and bring them over, And the same for these. Cut them and bring them over. And here you have your perfect Skinner blendish thing. Okay, so this is one of the ways. The other way that I'm doing is what I call the V-fold, which is super easy and allows you to control how much the blending goes. Meg Newberg, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Meg Newman. In my defense, I watched a lot of Seinfeld this morning. I think that might be it. I do that. I get a word stuck in my mind, and there I go. Okay, so I'm going to get again 2, and that is okay because I need 2 different. And thank you, Lauraline, for drawing that to my attention. I'm sorry. Well, good thing that you knew what I was talking about. And then I'm going to get 1 square of the alizarin crimson. And this time I'm going to simply place them slightly overlapping each other. And this one I'm going to control it with the V-fold. And that is valid for this one too. Whenever you're doing this one, the diamond put together is, as I said, it's more useful for when you're using more than 2 colors in a Skinner blend. Okay, so hi Gayleen. So I'm gonna switch to this other one. I'm gonna try and keep the microphone close to my mouth, and I hope you can hear me over the machine. Okay. So here we are with the V-fold. So what I need to do with the V-fold is simply fold the clay in a V shape. Now, if I go straight in the middle, you can see that this will come pretty much here. If I switch the fold more to one of the colors, the edge of the fold more to one of the colors, the other color will be towards the other end. If I switch the fold, and it will happen the same when you're doing like this. But another thing that controls how far one color goes into the other is the angle of the V-fold. If I do a regular 45 degrees angle, it comes kind of here. But if I want to bring it even more, then I make the angle of the V much smaller. And as you can see, if I go like this, it will come to 2/3 of the total length of the blend, compared to this one when it will come pretty much at about the middle. So that is the V-fold. And you can always, like after you go a few passes, if you see it's not enough, then you just get the angle smaller. And I want it a little bit more in, so I'm going to fold it again. And at this point, I want to make it narrower. So the easiest way to narrow it is fan fold it, make sure that you keep your lines straight. That's the most important thing that you need to do. And the moment I narrow it, I can hurry up the blending. And I will show you how. I'm not going to switch the camera because I'm going to only put this through the machine one time. And that is by rolling it, because when to create the blend, you practically need to fold these over and over until they blend nicely. But when you roll, you'll have those folds several times, so it will do it much faster than having to just fold it once over and over. So simply just again make sure you don't lose your lines. Simply roll it. And also the other thing that this is going to do is to make sure that you'll get rid if you have any ragged edges. The moment you get it in a plug, you can just push the ragged edges in. And then all you have to do is to flatten it enough to go through the pasta machine again. And once again, careful not to change your lines, the direction of your lines. And then repeat that a few times. The more difference between the brightness of your colors there is, the more passes you'll have to go through the pasta machine with. Like alizarin crimson and yellow, it's a big difference, so I'm going to need a lot of passes. But like if you are going to do the ultramarine blue and the black, did I put the ultramarine blue up in the ticker? Let me check. I think I might not have. No, I did not. Just a second. Okay, there we go. But if I were to mix the black with the ultramarine blue, it would need much less passes through the pasta machine. So I'm going to do this 2 more times. And see how here it looks like it's coming too far off, so I'm going to gently switch it this way so I wouldn't have it too much to the right. And I can simply do this with my hands. I don't need to bring it back to the tile, but you can see that's already the blend is forming. And once I go with it one more time, all I need to do is to just keep going until it's going to get longer. And I'm going to go a little bit thinner because I don't want it to get too short. And now I can go ahead and plug it. The best thing to, yes, I always like the combination. Thank you, Holly. If you have, one of the best things to do to preserve your Skinner blends is simply to plug them. And you can do 2 kinds of plugs. You can do the fan fold or you can do the cylindrical one. But what I always do before getting it in length through the pasta machine. I like to cut it in such a way that I would have the same thickness, and I like to keep like 1 inch. I was going like this because this blade is not wide enough. And then I'm putting these like this, the parts that I cut, so that they would form nice edges. And then the other secret, before getting it through the pasta machine, make sure that they are well stuck together, because otherwise, as you get with them through the pasta machine, they would go like this at the end. Now, another thing that I got asked quite a few times, how do you keep your clay coming out of the machine straight? Because mine keeps going left and right. Well, you catch it from underneath and you force it to go in a specific way. You don't let it move left or right. I'll show you. So I'm going like this. You'll see that as soon as it starts coming out, I'm going to catch it, and it's going to try to go left or right. But the whole secret is to hold it and not allowing it to do that. And see, it went perfectly straight. Now, this one you can fold it, or I personally prefer to cut and stack. I think that it makes a neater plug if you want. And again, having a graded working space really helps whenever you're making canes. That's why I looked for so much for this mat. Also because it doesn't have glare. But what would have happened if you would have used the same amount of alizarin crimson and yellow? Alizarin crimson is a very strong pigmented color, so you would have had here probably at the very end probably something like this or even darker. That's why you want to make sure that you have more yellow than alizarin crimson. So I have my first little stack, and I'm going to put it to the side. This is pure alizarin crimson, so I'll just put it to the side, back to the alizarin crimson stack. And I'm not going to work with it yet. I'm going to just put it aside and now do this one. And I'm going to actually fan fold it before I put it through the pasta machine, because it's wide enough and it's going to help me a lot with getting the blend. See how there's a little bit of raggedy stuff? High love for elephants. Thank you. And I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did for the first one. And as you can see, this one doesn't have that long. The blending space is not as long as this one had. I'm going to keep it shorter. And one more time, and then I'm going to start going for the final. And this one I'm going to do it in a cylindrical plug. And now I'm going to go thinner. And even thinner. There were more than 2 steps at once, because you may break your machine. And now again I'm going to prepare it for in length. Hi Susan. I'm sorry, I know that can be a pain. So again I'm going to make sure that I have 1 full inch in the middle of it. The thing is that for cylindrical plugs I like to do the strip on a very thin setting, because I think it makes the gradient more refined. So I put the one on the front down, on the top down, because it's got a straight edge, and the one on the bottom I put it up because again it's got a straight edge. And the same thing, I make sure that it is very well bonded with what is underneath. And see, these things like this, they will not make a big difference. Only if you have like huge chunks of yellow going in, but when it is like this, it will not make a lot of difference. So I'm going to first get with it through the machine on the setting that I had before, and then I will go very, very thin as I can manage. And I'm going to go down a little. Okay, and I'm going to do my cylinder with the yellow in the middle. So I need to switch it here. Sorry, the microphone is in the way some. Okay. And here is the thing with make sure you don't trap air. Talking about trapped air, it's always prefer to use a tiny slit instead of poking with a needle. It's better to use your X-Acto knife to release trapped air. And there we go. Now we have a cylindrical plug. Now, for the second combination, I'm going to take white and ultramarine blue. And this is what happens when you forget your machine on the thinnest, on the thin. And I'm going to do the same thing, 2 whites and 1 blue. Didn't flatten enough. And on these ones, I'm going to use the same thing that I used with the diamonds. So this because I want the blending area to be very short. And through the machine once to make sure that they are all stuck together. Then fold. And then I will roll it, go through the machine and roll it 4 times, pretty much. And see how I have air here? Because this is when you can get air. During the gradient making. And yeah, I should have conditioned that blue a little bit more. I thought it would be okay, but it's a little, well, hopefully it's going to get blended properly. And I will show you here how I'm going to do a little trick. So I went twice with the rolling and the blending, and watch what I'm going to do for the last 2, rolling and blending. I'm going to get just 1 sliver of black here at the end, and I make sure that it goes nicely bonded with the remaining, because I just want a smidgen of darker. Oh, that sucks, Pam. I think it might need 5 rolls, not just 4. Yeah, YouTube is not very reliable on reminders, really. So I am at my last, and from now on I'm going to simply fold. And see, I make sure that I keep the black just in this area. I don't make sure don't fold. Time to go on a thinner setting. And then again put it with the 1 inch kind of in the middle here. And I'm going to just go with it once like this. But yeah, that's how my strips always look straight, because I direct it, I pull it. Yeah, I don't know, by what I understood is that if you don't, well, how can I say it? If you get a reminder that you get a notification that somebody had posted something, uploaded something, or went live, and you got something else to do and you don't go right away to look at it, then YouTube deems it not very interesting for you, and next time it might or might not notify you. So the less you go right away to watch something, the less it's going to notify you. So yeah, they are really bad about that. Okay, and now I'm going to make some flower elements. As I said, there will be just elements, nothing more, nothing less. First I want to do this one a little bit more flat, more cubic-y, if you want. This is pretty much how I want it. I wanted it longer here. So this will be my main flower element, one of the mains, but it will represent the bulbous part of a flower, if you want. I don't know how to call it otherwise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently transform it. You're gonna say, why didn't you do it in a cylinder? Because it wouldn't have done what I need to do with it. So I am going to at the same time pinch but bring the alizarin crimson on top of it, and then go and pinch a little bit more, and it's going to want to widen up, don't let it. And I'm going to do the same thing here, pinch, but this time I want the yellow to get a little bit over. Then my next thing is, this is pretty much how I want it, this part. But this part I am going to thin it out, and let me switch the camera so you can see better what I'm going to do. So this part is how I want it, it's fine. But this part I want to thin out. And I want to thin it out starting from about here. And every time you thin, you need to come and flatten here, because it's going to flatten out, obviously. And you can go on both edges, on both sides, so it would be more even. So pretty much this is what I want. Now let's get back to the normal view. So I have this here. For the next one, what I'm going to do is to gently pinch this on opposite sides, just a little bit. You don't want to thin it out like I did with the other one. And then I'm going to cut it in half. And this will be the second flower. Thank you, Susan. Hi, Stephanie. And hi, everybody else. I didn't notice coming in because I have my eyes on what I'm doing here, not... Hi, Jeanette. Not on the chat all the time. So, I have these, and I have this. Now, in order to start putting it together, what I'm going to do, I'm going to first, and you see they are pretty much the same. This will be the height of my cane. So this will be somewhere here, and this is going to go back this way. Not yet though. This will be here, and these will be here. You can already see that there's a triangle pattern that's going to be longer on this side and shorter on this side. So the way that I want to start them, first of all, I will need something here that would unite everything. So I need a sheet of yellow. And I'm going to put it on a medium. So I need this to be about this long. Yes, I do make marks with my fingernails. And it's going to be as wide as the, this will be the height of the cane. All right, so It's actually too long. I need it a little shorter, about here. Now I'm going to wrap this around here, and I need it longer. Hi, Sonia. That's pretty much 1 inch. All right. So this goes in here. Let me put this back here. And it follows all the way. And then I'm going to turn it around and place it all the way to about where it starts to thin out. And you see I am thinning out a little bit even more. And then this is going to get spiraled. Let me grab a what? Okay, you can get a paintbrush or something to help you with this. Move this out of the way, because you want this to spiral, not fold. Okay, because if you go too harsh on it, it's going to simply fold, but you don't want it to fold. You want it to spiral. And again, this one is also going to want to go flat. Now, my next thing here is I'm going to make a small dip here, and I'm going to place some black. So I got this. I'm going to cut it to 1 inch, and then I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to place it here, and then make sure that it's nicely placed and flat. You see that here I have, it's going to be a little bit of a empty spot. So I'm going to fill that empty spot with some black, but there's going to be a but there. So I need a triangle, because see how this goes like this? It will need a triangle there. So pinch, pinch, pinch. And let's do one of the ends straight. Place it where it's supposed to be, and then cut the other end. But I want to add something else here, and that will be, I'm going to add a very thin yellow. And I'm not going to add it right here. I am going to first, because see how this goes like this, and it would, when I have the triangle like this will be the corner of the triangle. But I want this to come from the inside and then arch a little bit to start with. So I'm going to first cut this. And the other thing that I need to do is to insert a couple, 2 or 3 dots. And for this I'm going to just make a string, very thin string. And I want the string to be equal, so I'm using my acrylic block. And this should be thin enough. And I'm going to actually take this out so I can handle it better, because I am going to use this or a toothpick and make 2 small indents, and in those indents I'm going to place the strings. And then on top of it I am going to place the yellow. And then I'll put this back where it was, and this goes back here too. So reforming the triangle and then replacing it here where it belongs, and now I can start working it a little bit more towards the triangle. Now this will be one part of my flower image, just elements that are not actually a flower but will inspire your brain to think of a flower. The next one, and I think I need more black. Okay, so the next one, number 1, will have to have black here, pretty much in between this area. So probably I'm going to start with a double. This was on the thickest setting on the pasta machine. So I'm going to pinch this so it would fit well. And I got it too big. That's fine. It's better to have to cut from it than to have to put more in. And if this goes like this, then definitely I need to place something more here, right? So I'm going this time to do a single sheet, not a double sheet. Around this one. And obviously I'm going to need a little bit more to fill here. So this should be good. Again, pinch it so it can fit in here. And then simply fill this up. And it can be chopped out of a thing. So I'm going to just make a squarish plug. I don't know how to call it otherwise. Squarish plug. Oh, the ice cream truck. So this needs to be a little flattened here. And then I need a little bit more here to create a straight line, pretty much. And you've seen me before how I create the filling. I put extra and then I just chop it off. I just put how much I need and then I chop it off to cover everything, and then I cut off the extra. There we go. Now this is going to go like this, obviously, and this comes like this, right? So we need some more filling in here, and then we'll need some filling in here and some filling in here. Now for the filling in here, I'm going to simply use black, and then we're gonna start playing with the black, blue and white. So this is pretty much another triangle. This goes here. I think we can go easily like this. Now let's play with the blue a little bit. First of all, I'm going to flatten this, as I said, a little bit. I must make sure that it is the height that I need, but I am going to cut about this much out of it, then flatten it a little, thin it out as it would be, and remember that I wanted to put some black at the very end here. There was a reason why, because I'm going to spiral it. And by the way, this is one of those canes that it's the best to just do it in one way. You know how I normally say, keep your first triangle, don't use all of it, because you're going to need it, because once you use it you cannot do any other patterns. But if you keep it, you'll be able to make a whole bunch of patterns of canes with it. This one is kind of in the concept designed to be in a specific way combined. So once I place this on black, and then I'm going to pinch this to flatten it. And again, I need more black. And again, I'm going to start spiraling it. And I stop here because what I'm going to do next is one string of white and one string of black. I hope you're not getting too bored. Okay, but you're thinking, from what the heck is she going to do with two strings? Well, I'm going to do a mock stripe cane. How can you do a mock stripe cane, and why am I doing that? Because I need there pretty much a line, and I'm going to put another one here too, that would look like a stripe cane with black and white, but I don't want to have to make a whole big cane just for a slice of it. So there is a way to fake a stripe cane, and that is using strings. And I'm going to make the string pretty much, and remember I showed you before how to use an acrylic block to get your string all nice and the same thickness all over. And the ends is always going to look crappy, but now I'm going to do the same thing with the white. Oh, thank you. And so always start with the bowl and make sure that you do it until you have no folding lines, or almost no folding lines left. And then you can start making it into a string. And we want both strings to be about the same thickness, pretty much. And then I am going to do this. Watch me. Because when you start reducing the cane, this will look pretty much like a straight slice. And this is how you can do fake also checkerboard slice. And I will be covering this with white, so it will look like there's interlocked stuff. And now I'm continuing my spiraling gently. And a little bit black here. You'll see once it's reduced and formed, it will look absolutely fabulous, I promise you. But I didn't do a complex cane in a while, and the purpose of all this life is to show how you can actually construct a complex cane with just simple elements, and you can make it look awesome. So I'm bringing this a little bit over, making sure that I'm all equal and the same height here. Here I put a triangle to complete the line here. And then the other thing that I need to do, and I'm actually going to do a slight tapering here, just a little bit of tapering. See, I'm getting the black part a little bit thinner. And yes, I need more black. This is going to be a big cane, but you're gonna be able to buy it because it's going to get in the store. Okay, just for fun, I'll show you how I'm getting my clay all in a square. It's not perfect, but it's fairly good. Okay, so number one, I'm going to make this in I need to arrange this one first. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to try and cut it into 4. And we'll see how that works. And this one, I'm going to gently pinch it on one end. Kind of taper it a little bit. And you'll see in a second why. So I'm going to try and cut it in 4. There we go. And one more here. And always, you see, I'm triangularizing it, but I'm not allowing it to separate. It's a fairly organic cane, so you don't have to worry much about straight lines. And I want to make it more flatter this way and longer this way. Good night. Yeah, it's very late where you are. It's the middle of the night, isn't it? Okay, and then I'm going to do a little bit of this, and it needs more here. See? And then this one needs extended and a little bit longer. And there we go. Then here I just need a little bit more black to cover all this. And of course I'm going to put black here, just because. Okay, that should be okay. And let me get one more line of black. One inch. Remember, that's how I kept it at 1 inch height. So there we go. And now starts the job of reducing. Yay. So first of all, I want to make sure that I get the triangle real good and my pieces don't start falling apart from each other. And remember, whenever you do a triangle, your main problem is that the very edges will have the tendency to stay behind, so from time to time you have to come and pull on them. And never press on the very middle of the side of the triangle, because if you do that you'll obtain curved sides. Where you want to press is from here down, pretty much. Not just on the, right now I'm pressing all over because it's fairly big still. And yes, it can be reduced. Yes, that is late. You'll see how in the end it will look like flowers. It will remind you of flowers, pretty much. And see how I'm keeping it at a straight angle. And that's what I want to do. And putting it against with the side against the tile helps with keeping the clay from pushing out. It's going to still push out. It's a huge thing. So there's going to be quite a bit of loss, especially because it's Premo. I don't think I can do this big of a cane reduction with Fimo Professional. It would be a little bit too much for my hands. ease up these ends a little bit. See? It's going to look flowery, and these will make beautiful beads, these ends. Yeah, just a little longer, and I will. I got 3 inches, now I need more. I think I can actually go ahead and do the next triangle. Let me get it to cut it straight in the middle. Okay. Hold on. Yes, it's correct. I got a little bit worried that it wasn't right. I didn't put it together right. Not in the end, it won't be. Trust me. Yeah, that works. But you know, what else is this end but just more scrap? You know, it's the same thing pretty much. And so if you put scrap clay at the end, or if you just leave these, that will become scrap clay after that. It's the same thing. I mean, yeah, it seems nifty when you first learn of it, but if you think about it, it's the same thing. I know, I saw that, and I was very enthusiastic about it, and then I was like, what the heck am I doing here? Okay, now let me try and get a little bit of this out. I would lose less, but the problem is, you know, with my hands, I cannot hold it properly. Okay, now let's get it in half again and do the last triangle, after which it will become a rectangle. Wish me luck. And there we go. Okay, and once this triangle is reduced, it's going to form a rectangle. So it's going to be a 4 radial. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's beautiful. Especially, it's got this flame-like effect. And if you use it, for example, for a, you know, one of these, hold on, because I know I made the tutorial not long ago. If you use it for one of these, it's going to look absolutely fabulous, because those little flame points just come out at you. And once you get to the rectangle, then it's so much easier to reduce. Okay, so let's cut it in two and do the rectangle finally. The square, not rectangle, square. Today is the day of wrong words. And I didn't cut right, but then my back is hurting, so I'm going to reduce this as much as I can, and then I want to do something else real quick. This one really needs to rest a little bit. It's getting a little too soft. Does it remind you of a flower? And I said another way of flowery cane. Another kind of flowery cane. And I'm gonna have to balance it. And that all that it needs from now on is simply reducing. And it's very hard to cut right now because it's so soft. And I need to balance it a little bit. So this is pretty much it. It's going to be much nicer once I can use the cane bender, not the cane bender, square pairs on it. And then look at all these pretty things here, that all we need to do is to make some Natasha earrings, four-sided Natasha earrings. I think I can make 2 pairs out of this. I am sure I can make 2 pairs out of this. Let's see. Real quick. Little bits and pieces of it here. Well, it's a kind of a kaleidoscope cane. And yes, I will post again because I got questions about people that, where's my four-sided Natasha earrings? Well, I took it down from YouTube because there was this young composer who was like, oh yes, please come use my music, just mention me, it's free and blah blah blah. That was 2 years ago, and in the meantime he sold the rights to his music to a third party, and now the third party is coming after all the creators who have used his music to get the monetization from their channel, from their videos. I said, if I'm not monetizing, you ain't gonna monetize on my work. So I just took the video down. I redid the sound, and it can be found on Facebook, on the Kalyana Facebook page. But the thing is that I thought of putting it back, the same video with a different sound on YouTube, but then I thought, why not just make a new one, you know? Okay, so now I'm going to twist a little bit. And I'm twisting and then doing this. And then twisting. And then, surprise, surprise, what I am going to do going to get the square pairs. This looks almost like Fordite. Huh. Yeah, I know it's unfair. I'm not even sure if it's legal, but you know. It's not like YouTube cares much about its creators. As long as it can make money, everything is good. Pretty much. Okay, how many inches do I have? 5. Well, yeah, that would be okay. Not 5 inches divided by 4. Should be fine. Okay, 5 inches. This can go for a bead. What did I do? Instead of cutting it at 1 1/4, I cut it in. Oh well, I'll make a pendant. I'll make 2 pairs of earrings and a pendant. So, remember the way I showed it. It's like, well, it's the whole thing with kindness and paying forward kind of lose the battle when it comes to money, you know. So cut in half, open it, cut in half, cut in half, then Turn these around and put them together. And you notice that I didn't cut them, I didn't chop too much. And then just put them together this way. So once again, you want me to get it in a close-up, and I'm going to use my square pairs to kind of make that inside line disappear as much as possible, but it's going to disappear a lot when you sand it. So let me do a close-up so you can see better. So let me try and find one that's more brighter. Okay, let's try this one. So cut in half, open it. Now cut each of them in half. Each of the halves you cut in half, and each of them you open them, and then you put the halves together, and you got the Natasha mirror pattern. And then pick them up, turn them around, and you have another Natasha mirror here. And as I like to use the square pairs to make them a little bit more even. I didn't put them perfectly together, but still it's pretty. So one more time. See, this one looks like Fordite right here. If you don't know what Fordite is, where's that place, NJ? Is it in Detroit? I forgot where it is. Anyway, it's a place where they kept putting old cars, and in time, as the paint fell off the cars and they just got one on top of the other, and the weather and the elements, and it got pressed, there's a material that looks a little bit like a gemstone, only that it's going to have all these lines on it, and these lines come from the car paint, and that's why it's called Fordite, like from Ford, the truck Ford, because most of the cars there are Ford trucks. Okay, so again, I cut it in half, separated them, cut in half, do the same thing, and put it together, cut in half, open, put together, oops, and then simply grab each of these, turn them on the side, and just do these together. And the pendant, in just a minute, let me put this together, because I said with one of them I'm going to just do a pendant. If you remember, I had that tutorial with 7 ways of making a Natasha bead. It's real easy. Which side should I go on? Let me go this side. So you just get it a little bit more, flatten up one way more than the other, and then you cut it in two on the thinner side. Open it up. You got your Natasha, and then you can simply shape it a little bit. It's going to look like some kind of vicious something. The nest of the, looks like a spider nest. Oh, that's possible, that too. I don't know. I thought that it was about an old car, but you might be right, Carrie. I don't know. I will have to look, because I know the story, and I know that it's from paint from cars, the Fordite. But I thought it was from a car cemetery. Okay, I'm going to stop it here too, because I'm starting to get in pain. But you can see how you can make pretty stuff with the leftovers. And we'll do something with this. I'll reduce it some, and there'll be enough for me to sell it. And there you go. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, I knew that it was paint, and these are the... Okay, so I'll do a bangle like that one or something, and then I'll present to you the four-sided Natasha earrings some other time. But I'm getting tired, and I've been on for almost 2 hours, so yay me, I've been so good, huh? I have been so good. So thank you very much, and I shall see you next Sunday. Now you can see me in all my beauty with no makeup, but I just wanted to say hi. And I shall see you next Sunday. If there's anything else in the meantime, we'll do it. I'll jump on and we'll do it. Have a wonderful Sunday. Goodbye.